The writer Wendell Berry said that community is the smallest unit of health, meaning that, as he goes on to say, that to speak of a healthy individual is to speak of a contradiction in terms, that we can only truly be healthy in the fullest sense of the word inside the confines of community. I believe that community contains everything that we need to live a good life, that everything that we need, from our resources to thrive to our emotional resources, everything we need to live a good life is inside of our community. It contains all of the resources. Speaking practically, that means that, like, if I don't know something or I don't have something, then someone in my community either has it or or knows someone who does. So, yeah. So that's what I believe about community. That's what community means to me. Community means having all of the resources I need to live a good life. And it's the smallest unit of health. I suppose I experienced community in a number of ways. It was obviously much easier before the pandemic happened. One of my favorite ways to experience community is over a long table full of food and surrounded by other people. There are some things that can only be experienced, in my opinion, over a plate filled with food cooked by people who love you. That's obviously much harder during this time of the pandemic, and things like video calls are pay limitations, but it's still real, even if it's not ideal. I am the community pastor at Open Door Mennonite, which means that it is my job to represent Open Door out in the larger community, whether that's working with food pantries and homeless shelters, meetings with the mayor or the city council, advocating for people in school board meetings or doing jail visits. So my job, if you will, at Open Door is to carry our mission of peace and justice out into the larger community. So we pulled into town at 9:00 p.m. and within minutes, people from Open Door showed up and helped us unload the truck. We had it all unloaded in about half an hour. We've been here a little bit more than 2 years, and almost all of our relationships fanned out from Open Door. It wasn't just people at Open Door, but people who they knew and who they connected us with. My plumber came through a connection from Open Door. Our mechanic came through a connection at Open Door. It just spanned out from there. Ultimately, I owe a tremendous number of my relationships, both personal and professional, through my work at Open Door. Obviously, we have to get on the other side of this pandemic, and what was originally supposed to be a month or two situation has now spanned 10 months, and Lord knows how much longer we're going to have to go. But obviously, we have to get on the other side of this pandemic. Once that happens, I would like to see Open Door become more of a neighborhood hub, a true justice center for that neighborhood, where people can perhaps access services that they need, or even if they just, like, life is chaotic and they need a peaceful place to pray, a place of refuge and hope to people in that neighborhood. Um, Perhaps that will look like, supportive services for children out of school, or a food pantry. It could take on any number of aspects, but the thing that I think would be most helpful would, again, to be location centered, to be a nexus of justice for that community. That's what I'm excited about.